Well, I can tell you it certainly was not by design. In fact, when I first got my license, I got it because I wanted it for my own convenience. I thought, well, I'll have access to the MLS systems, I'll have access to the properties. At the time, most agents did not know how to serve investors. You got the residential world and you've got the commercial world. And in commercial world, you've got people who are more trained to work with investors, but on big projects. On the residential side, owner-occupant side, most agents are just trained to help us buy and sell our homes, okay? So I thought, well, I'll get my license, I'll cut that whole piece out. And by the way, I'll get to keep all my own commissions, which is exactly what I did. But what happened is I did very well. I was investing, I paid for my own mentor early on. It went from my first 10 years, I bought one property with my college roommate Socrates. Fast forward 10 years go by, didn't buy a single other property. Finally paid for my own mentor, okay? This was in Pennsylvania. Mr. Demet had, my Socrates' father had passed away. So I paid for a mentor, and then next year I bought 10 properties. So 10 years, no mentor, one property. 1 year with a mentor, 10 properties. Now what happened is people start to recognize me. I was a pretty good investor in the area. So one of the guys that taught people how to invest had contacted me. I'd heard him on the radio. I went to his event, and he said he knew who I was, and asked me if I would come. This is kind of fast forwarding here. He said, "Hey, Gary, would you come one Saturday? I teach classes to investors. Would you come and speak? Just as like a guest, just telling us your own story." And I said, sure, I'd be glad to. Turns out I really liked that. So I went in there, and I'm teaching from this person's material, but I'm teaching from my own experience. And the students really liked that. I mean, they could just tell it was authentic and genuine. I wasn't just up there reading a textbook. I actually did this myself a lot. I had a lot of properties, a lot of rentals, did a lot of flips. Well, he asked if I would do it again, because the students, that was the best feedback he got was on me up there speaking. And I said, yeah, because I actually liked it, I loved it. Well, it turns out they found out, I came out in classes, told them I got my license. Somebody probably asked, hey, would you ever consider getting your license? I said, ironically, I do. Well, guess what? At the end of the class, they all wanted me to represent them in real estate transactions, because I was an agent who knew how to invest. I called myself an investor agent. Well, guess what I said? I said no. In fact, I said no lots of times, probably more than 100 times, and finally I realized I think God's trying to hit me upside the head and say, hey, Gary, there's an opportunity here I'm giving you to make more money, to leverage your license to make more money, not just rental income, not just flipping income, but utilize who you are and what you know and who you know and all that to make more money. So the next class I went into, it came up every time. So when they asked me, I said, look guys, an average of 25 people per class, by the way. I said, I can only take 2 of you because I really don't do this for a living. I'm just going to do it as a courtesy to help some of you really produce. I'll take the first 2 that come up after class. Well, 25 people wanted to be the first 2. So I learned my first lesson in marketing, which is scarcity. Make yourself look scarce, and it creates urgency and things like that. I didn't know that, just what happened. I learned that lesson later on. So in any case, I started earning commissions doing this, okay? And I got to the point I'm like, I really need to charge more money. I don't want to take these minimum commissions. There are minimal commissions, so I created my own minimum commission. Okay, eventually it went up to like $3,000. Nobody batted an eyelash. I was getting this money, like I was doing literally 2 transactions a week on average, and more sometimes. It turned into a huge business. I mean, I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars on commissions by working with investors because they're repeat clients. And by the way we taught them, they were not the nobody down on our financing guys. These are people that actually had money, and they would buy correctly. They would buy successfully. They were really business-minded people. They looked at investing as a business. They were typically business owners themselves, actually. Chiropractors, dentists, even had teachers, engineers, firemen, policemen, you name it. Usually either professional or entrepreneurial or both. And so we had a very high batting average. As a matter of fact, 2/3 of the offers I made eventually got accepted. So pretty awesome batting average. So I eventually turned that into a brokerage company. I decided, why am I giving the broker essentially 1/3 of what I'm making for doing nothing, quite frankly? So I got my license, a broker's license, built my own brokerage company. And all of the people I taught how to invest, I encourage them to get their license because it did help. It just gives you more ways to generate more income, number one. Number two is you have direct access to information and properties. Well, when I started my brokerage company, I had no problem attracting agents. All these people I taught became my agents. So I started Win Realty Advisors. That was my first brokerage company. And the rest they say is history. We were the fastest growing brokerage company 3 years running. We eventually started property management because all of the investors needed property management. Just an amazing story, all because I decided to finally give myself permission to utilize that license as an income producing asset to generate multiple streams of income. That's really what it's all about. That's really how it all got started.